Having a docking station for the Steam Deck is almost essential, but the official dock isn't cheap. So I found one that's much less expensive and has a feature that the official one doesn't. In this video we're going to take a look. Hey everybody, it's Chris from Family Geekery, and today we're going to be taking a look at a docking station for the Steam Deck. And if it's got everything that the product page on Amazon says it does, then it's going to have a feature on it that isn't on the official dock, and it's pretty important, I think. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look. So here it is. They call it a 7-in-1 dock, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that name, but I'll have a link in the description below of where to find this particular one. And I looked all through Amazon looking at all the different docks because I didn't buy the original one. I held out a little bit because I figured there's probably going to be another company that makes something either just as good for less or better for less. And I'm hoping that that's what this is better for less. So it's a nice aluminum chassis to it. So it's got good build quality. It's got some rubber on the bottom to keep it from slipping around. Some rubber here to protect the Steam Deck when you put it in. And what I like most about it is right back here. So we've got, of course, the power in, the power delivery in. We've got an HDMI output. We've got a couple USBs, looks like two USB 3.0s and a USB 2.0. And then this guy right here. We've got a USB-C input. So not just the power delivery that we got, but one that we can actually plug a USB-C device in. So maybe you have something like this, which I've showed you on the channel before. It's an NVMe enclosure that uses a USB-C. Easy way to add a bunch of storage to your dock that will be, of course, able to be accessed on the Steam Deck when it's in docked mode. Now there are some steps to do that, and we'll look at that as we put this thing together. But that's really the missing feature, I think, from the Steam Deck. With more and more accessories becoming USB-C, why have none on there? So we've got one on there, and then of course we got a gigabit Ethernet port also. So just about everything that you need on here. And I guess that's all I need to talk about it. We need to hook it up and make sure it works. Alright, so before we hook a bunch of stuff up to it, the first thing I wanted to do was a basic fit test. And to do that, I first put the Steam Deck in there, and it fit beautifully. But really what I wanted to find out is, could I put my silly silicone protective case here on it that I use because I like the extra grip texture here, and see if it would fit in there. And it looks like it does. It doesn't look like it's bottoming out all the way down here, so it's not slipped all the way in, but it's definitely not going anywhere. So I would be completely fine with using this thing in this dock with the case on it. So that's good. And then the next step, of course, is making sure that this guy is going to fit all the way up and into the charging port up top with that silly silicone case on it. And it looks like it's going to just fine. So it's got plenty of length, and the length of the connector itself is able to get all the way through this silicone. Now if you had a harder shell, clamshell type case to it, not 100% sure that would fit, but sometimes those cases come with the little port extenders anyways. So this would be plenty tall enough to get also into one of those port extenders. So that's good. So let's grab a little monitor and some keyboard, mouse, and get this thing hooked up the way it's supposed to be. Alright, so I've got the Steam Deck hooked up into the docking station here, and I've got a monitor plugged in over the HDMI port in the back. I've got a wired controller hooked up because I figured the Bluetooth would work just fine to the Steam Deck, but I wanted to see if the controller would work just fine through the docking station. I've also got mouse, and I've got keyboard. So I've got everything hooked up, just about every port in there hooked up. I didn't hook up an Ethernet cable yet, but I'll do that in just a second. And then also, I'm going to hook up an external storage device over the USB-C and see if we can get that mounted. Alright, so I plugged in an Ethernet cable now, and you can see that the Wi-Fi icon has changed to a little globe symbol showing that it's using the Ethernet instead of the Wi-Fi, so that worked out great. And I've got the external USB drive sitting right here plugged into the USB-C connector in the back. So there's just basically an NVMe drive in here, like 120 gig NVMe drive in this enclosure, and it's plugged into the Steam Deck. And what I'm going to show you now is if we go down to settings and all the way down to storage, you can see now that I've got my internal drive, a micro SD drive, and I've got this third drive, which is showing 110 gigabytes free of the 116. Now, I haven't installed anything on there yet, but really, this wouldn't be a very portable solution, of course. So if you're going to do something like this, it'd best be for installing all of your games on here that are maybe like the ones that you know you're going to be playing on a TV, maybe couch co-op games or larger games that you know that you want to play on a big screen. So I would install those on there. Of course, this is not a very portable solution. You wouldn't want to plug in a USB-C drive sticking off the top of there as you're playing. So just be mindful of what this is going to do for you. Now, obviously, it gives you a lot of expandability because you can put, a 2 or 4 terabyte drive inside this thing and get it on here. Now, the process of getting this to show up in there is several steps that involve going into the desktop mode and changing a bunch of permissions, and that's best suited for a different video. So if you want to see that, I can put a link down in the description below on how to do that. Alright, one more thing I want to mention is originally I had the power supply for the Steam Deck, the original power supply, plugged into the dock, and I wasn't getting everything working at once. I was kind of having a little bit of flakiness, and I think that's just because that 45 watt power supply that comes with the Steam Deck is intended to power this. It's not intended to power an external keyboard. I've basically got a wireless dongle on there for a keyboard and mouse. It's not meant to power, a controller and then send video out also. And I think it's just didn't have quite enough power. So in order to get everything set up and have it all be stable, I used a 65 watt USB-C charging adapter plugged right into the docking station itself. Once I switched to that 65 watt, then everything was just working fine. So keep that in mind if you're going to be plugging a bunch of stuff into the docking station, because this docking station did not come with a power supply. It expects you to use, I guess, your original one or one that you already own. And if you want, I'll go ahead and put a link down below for a 65 watt that I've got working, and it works great, and it's super compact. I'd show you, but it's plugged in and it would tear everything up if I unplugged it. So overall, once I got the right power supply hooked up to the docking station and everything's been stable, I'm pretty happy with this little guy here. And like I said, a docking station isn't an essential accessory for a Steam Deck because obviously this thing's meant to be portable. But if you have the use for a docking station, then it makes sense to get one. And does it make sense to pay $89 for one that's just going to basically hook it up to your TV and give you a couple USB ports? If you want to stick with the first party, then yes, that's the price you're going to pay, is $89 as of the time of this recording. Now, I got this guy here for about $35 on Amazon. So I saved some money. I am happy that the USB-C port on there works. So overall, like I said, I'm pleased. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, I appreciate that thumbs up. If you like this type of stuff, if you want to see more content of the geeky variety, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button too. If you have any questions at all about the docking station, go ahead and throw them down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer anything I can. And thank you as always for watching. Until next time, peace out and geek out.